¿Dónde está Señor Moro?
Yeah. I think I pulled what I call a Britney bitch, shaved my hair, and then started growing this out. I haven't shaved since
This
the
is
cruise.
this is great. I love it. This
You
is
look, and
Did you
you
I
look
love
like
it.
coincide with any kind of nervous breakdown?
it's every day, every
What's
day.
weird is you look more like Kevin Federline.
Well, I'll take that. That's he was a handsome guy and a great dancer back in the day.
Yeah, they got
And he's
together
obviously
for a reason.
speaking of the world's greatest dad, he's way superior parent than Britney. So he's got my vote anytime over Britney,
Hot
bitch.
take.
Hot take,
Damn,
way
this
better
is
parent. I mean, it's in the news, so
Yeah,
I'm not
must
like
be
just
true. Must be
assuming
true.
that. But he's like, she's no bueno.
Yeah.
You
Well,
look like you were like Ali, like just like airbrushed. You look
you like that?
so
Yeah.
matte finished right now. I'm like the
Yeah.
opposite.
I've got the light bounce. You know what? Hang on. My fucking dog. This is just what we have.
This
It's
is not
fine.
very
It's
professional.
part of it.
Mine will be
I
barking.
know you like it, Neil. It distracts me.
So how'd you guys
That's
get
this.
hooked up? You
we
and
don't know.
Ali.
I'll tell you the story. Ollie, you call him. What
Tell
do you
it.
call him, by the way? Because I realize that I pronounce it incorrectly, but I can't help myself, and he never corrects.
I pronounce it Khali. It's just very authentic.
The timing of this couldn't have been better. It really couldn't have been. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Timing out well. It
Oh my
is.
God.
Well, Jeff, the truth is, we all once were shining stars at the place called Food Network. I was Ollie's executive on a pilot called I can't
Dude,
remember.
what's so funny is Jeff was supposed to be in it.
Which one was that?
Oh my God!
Money
Was
on
that
the menu?
The menu thing?
We couldn't afford
Yeah.
him. Is that right?
Well,
Who can?
yeah, Lord
No
knows.
way.
And now-
Lord knows. Yeah, he
Wait,
could definitely
wait, what
afford
was
the
the
kid on the
concept?
milk
It was
carton.
it was called Money on the Menu. It was
Yes.
with Field Entertainment. We shot it in L.A. Ollie had a very nice suit, and it was a game show, and it was a clever idea. But TV is crumbling all around us, which is why we're on this podcast about fatherhood.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember it was. But wait, did they come out to? They go out to both of us, right? Like,
Yeah.
wasn't it going to be both of us?
Dude,
Oh my
it
God,
was
that's what it
literally.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The original
Yeah.
creative. And then we'll watch your original pilot from 20 years ago. So anyways, look, Jeff, back in the day, like I was a medium deal. I was
Yeah.
like the likes of a Todd Weiser, an Andrew
Okay.
Schechter, I don't
Big
know.
names.
Our
He's
name-
dropping the names.
I mean, I'm just trying to, get some cred here. Yeah, no, I was Ollie's executive, and then I got canned, and then he got canned, or I don't know in what order, and here we are. And so the story is, as we often tell, I have a 7-year-old
Nice.
daughter named Cece. She's cool. Second grade. I have a 5-year-old named Zeke. Ollie's kid, teenager now, and we were just talking about our kids, and we were like, what are we doing? Why are we
Yeah.
not doing this? And here we are, like almost 45 episodes later, doing this, talking about being dads. And welcome, Jeff. You were like the first name. Ollie was like, well, we got to get Jeff. And, but I think he wanted to be respectful. I know you're busy, and we wanted to make sure that this had like some air of legitimacy. So
Well,
Also, elephant in the room, Jeff's dad passed away this year. So there was that part.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
I guess so. What are we talking about, dads? Let's talk. Yeah.
I'm glad you healed well. You just never know. It's a hard read with people.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was that's it's life changing. Almost as not you like having the birth of my my son 17 years ago, and
Lorenzo's
my
17
now. In my career popping, after winning Food Network star and the death of my dad. I mean, those are three of the biggest things that.
Yeah.
Man, my marriage, of course, but
of course.
and anybody. Can get
Hi,
married.
Sarah.
And not everybody can lose their dad and their job in the same year. So what are you gonna do? Hey now.
Listen, Jeff, I always write these very formal bios, and I'm going to make Ollie read it. But, Ollie, feel free to, add some colors, zhuzh it up, since this is an actual real deal friend of yours and not just some crazy we met on the internet.
It's true. Well, I mean, let's not,
No, we met outside a bar in Silver Lake in 2004. It was like the night I moved to LA, and my cousin Joe, who knew Ali from film school from USC, he's like, "You got it. This guy loves food. We should do something together." And I moved out to LA to, like, literally make something with my cousin Joe cooking show, basically, but cooler. And it was a chance meeting. So, yeah. We didn't meet online, but some semblance of what you qualified as a online-esque meeting. Just
we met in the era of Firefox. It's funny because Neil's younger. He's a proper millennial. So, he'll just, there are certain things where, I'll be like,
mayor, but I'm 40.
All right, you're 40. That's pretty good.
That's right. You got a new mayor. Neil, much going on with you too. We'll get to that.
By the time this drops, it won't even be topical anymore. But yeah, no, it's election season.
Who knows?
You're in Cincinnati?
Correct. No. Hey now.
Well played.
Did you? Oh, you didn't know that they were having a tight race too? Affects the world.
I will say this: Cincinnati is the right punchline for that joke.
I don't want to offend anybody.
I could just say that whatever.
Dads, and I'm not going to clip this. And don't worry, no one. My parents don't listen to the long form.
Come after me.
I was, I don't know how much you follow politics, and we don't want to get too political. All stripes are welcome here. The only qualifier is that you're a dad.
That's true.
But I'm in deep blue New York. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, Jeff, and so we get ads from like Jersey, Connecticut, and so like for the last like 2.5 months, just been pounding our TV. Mikey Sherrill. Jack Citarelli says, I don't know if you follow the New Jersey governor's race. My entire family's in New Jersey. So I like reluctantly, I was on the phone with my mother and I was like, did you vote? And she goes, yeah, we voted. I voted by mail. That's how my mom talks. I go, who'd you vote for? She goes, Mickey. I go, Mikey? It's a female, right? And I'm like, all right, she voted for the governor, our choice, this.
She's gender blind.
Mother of 4.
Good for her.
And then I go, did Dad vote? And she goes, yeah. I go, who did Dad vote for? And she goes, Craig, who'd you vote for? And I just hear in the background, he goes, the Italian guy. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Are you Italian at all? No.
Okay.
Big. Here's that. This is a whole other.
God help him to vote for the woman.
I would prefer if your dad saw people beyond their ethnicity. That would be nice.
I
can't. Change, right?
Doesn't even
the
know
Italian
his name.
guy.
Anyways, the Italian guy. But he lost. It was his third try.
Yeah.
Ollie, but lest we get so far ahead of ourselves that it becomes even more awkward. Do the bio. Do the intro.
All right.
Come on,
this is going to be the weirdest
it?
bio I've ever read because I'm like, why am I saying this stuff? But I have to because Neil's a great writer. All right, everybody. Today's guest is a culinary personality whose humor, passion, and creativity have made kitchens everywhere more fun for almost 2 decades. Jeff Mauro, better known as the Sandwich King, studied culinary arts at Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Hollywood, actually. It says Chicago.
It was Kitchen Academy. It was a Cordon Bleu affiliate. Sorry.
Cordon Bleu. All right. Ooh, wow. Good sound effect there. He graduated valedictorian. Is that right? Okay, cool. He honed his comedic chops in acting and live performances before winning season 7 of Food Network Star in 2011. I watched it live, launching a career filled with Emmy-nominated shows, including co-host duties on The Kitchen since 2014, of course, the namesake show Sandwich King, and countless appearances on series like Worst Cooks in America, Chopped, Barbecue Brawl. Dude, it's seriously, it's very impressive. When Jeff's not filming or crafting the perfect sandwich, he enjoys life in Chicago with his wife Sarah, their son Lorenzo. Please welcome my friend, the one, the only, Chef Jeff Mauro, to World's Greatest Dad. Damn, you are, the musician stuff throws me, because I'm like, you really do that stuff.
This is ridiculous. Why do we not have a xylophone?
It's my son's from school, because he's in the percussion ensemble and the jazz band and stuff. So they bring this home. It just sits here. So
he brought home a xylophone, or
you rent it from the school. I don't know, dude. He hasn't returned it in like 2.5 years. It's just been sitting here. I don't know.
It's not a recorder. He brought home a xylophone. What's going on?
It's a mini xylophone. I think it's a flugelhorn or whatever the hell they call it. Hello, this is great. I love this. I love being on here. This
So
is
what
great.
do you know? Like what is do you know about this? You know we've been doing this for like
No,
9
I know.
months.
I see the cut downs and everything. I watch your posts, Ali, of course. And I was actually, when I saw it, I was like, why has he asked me to do this? I'm a dad. He knows this. I'm a pretty damn good dad, too. I haven't killed him yet in 17 years.
I explained that, didn't I? Jesus.
You did. You were being sensitive to my life changes.
Top of the list. And we're glad you're here. So yes, this is a place where it started out as we're just idiots, as you know, Ollie. We're, and just having fun and riffing about being dads. And then we started talking to other dads, and it's a place to just like chill and chat and talk about what it means to you and trade stories, maybe give some advice. And so, you have a 17-year-old, as we've established. Let's go back.
Mm-hmm.
What year was I'm bad at math. 2025. What year was he born?
2008.
Okay.
Whoa.
It was a big year.
Crazy.
We had a giant economic crash. Obama became president. A lot happened.
I got married. I got married in 08.
You got married in 08. I was there.
Third most important thing.
Yeah, that might have. That was after. That was like probably one of our first trips after he was born. What month did you guys get married in?
What month was I born in / married? I don't know.
That I don't know.
It was April 30th. April 30th.
April, May, June, July. Maybe she was pregnant then. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Yeah, 08. He was born in 08. I was married in 05. I get those dates mixed up.
Did Sarah drink at your wedding, Ollie, is the question.
I don't remember.
I did. I'll tell you that much.
God knows I did. I had a good old time. I wore my favorite jackets,
2008, Lorenzo was born. And talk about like the before and the after, like before you became a dad, and then
I mounted Sarah under the cover of night.
I was waiting. I was so waiting for this to go exactly.
I took her like my own, and I gave her the progeny, the ability.
This is not too far off from an absolute unguarded. Yeah,
I literally rolled I was bigger then too, so I just. Just hippo rode right on top of her in the middle of the night. No, yeah, we made love and we had Lorenzo, and it was, I actually came back from an all-guy ski trip, which was very hard to pull off at that stage in our life because we didn't really, my wife Sarah's a nurse. I wasn't making much money cooking or whatever. I was private chefing. I was making $18 an hour, so all my cousins, uncles, my dad was on his trip, and we go to like Vail for 4 nights, and we'd ski. And that's like the most expensive thing in the world to do is to go skiing, right? Even back then, now it's astronomical, right? It's like $1,000 a day, no matter what. Not even to ski, like not even to eat or travel or spend the night. So I get back, and it was contentious, the whole me going on the trip, and I came back, and she picked me up at the airport, and we were like 4 hours late. Because it was like delayed. So she's like, oh my God. I was like, I get home and I remember her like in the bathtub, like running water. She's like, I'm pregnant. And she like was bawling. Like, I don't know if it was happy or sad. I think it was just shock. And that's how I found out. And I was excited. I mean, we were living in a small condo in the city. So we were, like most young parents, and I think we're still fairly young back then, compared to a lot of people I think have kids later in life. But we were not too far from moving back from LA, so we're kind of starting over still, and it was a lot. And then just something clicks, I feel, in most parents, and it's just like, shit, we're going to do this, and it's time to get a little more serious about life and careers and stuff. But, he came out, and it was... Dude, it was like she was in labor for like 28 hours. It was like, holy, because as quick as the conception was and the mounting, as long, that's how long, the labor was brutal. So when he finally was born and healthy, I was like, holy shit, there's nothing can be harder than this. And then he was just a very difficult baby. We went through it, like, it seems like so long ago, but it's been the greatest thing in my life is. And I'm, I know Ali's the father of an only boy. It's a club, at least by us, where it's like big Irish families and like generations of these 5 kid families that are all around us. We're the anomaly with an only, and I'm one of 4, so I don't know what it's like. I grew up in severe chaos my whole life, and we're all 3 years apart, and it's just crazy, and everybody's still around. It's just nuts. And I don't know. I think the greatest thing about Lorenzo is that he just fits into our world so well. And he's just been calm ever since that first like 6 months as being a whatever colicky crying infant. He's just been so smooth. And it's like, I don't know, a lot of parents don't have that. And you have another one, you have a good one. And then the second one's usually a terror. And, you know, like we got close a couple times, but we're blessed with our only. And I don't know, he's a cool ass dude now. I think it's the greatest job out of any of the 1,000 weird jobs I do, trying to scratch together an income in all the various things I've done throughout my life and my career. That's been my greatest job is raising a young man.
There was a video you posted about like, I don't know, it's like a giant praying mantis or something like that in your house, the bug.
Huge. It was a raptor, bro.
Yeah, I know, it was big. It was big. And what was amazing was when I saw it, like, and, you know, it's funny. It's like, as long as I've known you, then you moved to Chicago, you had Lorenzo. I don't know your son, right? However, when I saw the video and, like, you're, like, right down trying to, like, capture this massive insect. And he's, like, kind of on the stairs. And then all of a sudden the bug moves and you guys both jump. And I see Lorenzo jump. And there was something about that where, like, I got like an instant read off of him. And I also, as you kind of describe, you know, the club we're in where you have an only child, it's, I know that relationship, you know what I mean? It's the three of you, right?
Yeah.
And that's what our family is. And it's interesting, like, you know, for better or for worse, it's like you have this very, very close bond with your singular kid, but at the same time, it creates intense moments, certainly like when we travel and stuff like that. But it was just cool, like for a little moment, I was like, I know that kind of adventure you have when your family unit is, you know, three people, two adults and a kid.
Yeah, that was, I'm not proud of that if you go back and look at my socials. I mean, I screamed. So I'm very manly, right? I believe so. Not in like whatever. I'll protect my family to no end. I can fight. I can do all this stuff. But like when it comes to indoor bugs, I'm out, dude. And like I did not want to extract this creature. It's not even a bug, dude. I mean, if you see him on like a leaf on a branch outside in the woods, you're like, whoa, this thing is dramatic. Then it's like on your windowsill and it's just sitting there waiting to eat a hummingbird. And they can do that. All right. So when it attacked me, right, without any thought like whether or not I can squash it, the thing like got tossed around and it still flew away. Not my proudest moment, but the laugh we had because of that video and the laugh in the moment that you're speaking to, you know, where you're like, we got this, you know, like, not that it does reduce a little bit when you have a teenager, right? You're like, right, the independence is so great and they're learning it, but it's like those softer, funnier moments where you can share, you know, just laughter. And like what happened the other day, I don't know, like I scared him. I was like laying on the floor or something. He walked in, I was like did something stupid and he was dying. Like when I can make him laugh like that without any like, he's not even a kid who's like, you're lame, dad. There's like none of that. I don't know about you, Ollie. Do you guys, is he like embarrassed by you? Does he get embarrassed by you?
1,000%. Oh my God.
Right.
Like 100,000%. It's getting harder and harder. He'll be as sweet as could be to Brearley, like ridiculous, like crazy. And then he'll go to me. He'll be like, he'll like hit me. Like it's crazy. It's hard. I feel like I'm like getting bullied by him. And I kind of wonder too about the dynamic about him at school. Like, I know he's not an alpha at school, and part of me does wonder, like, oh, you know, is this your opportunity to kind of alpha out a little bit? However, literally, this freaking morning, we had some music on, and it was like ballet stuff, and Billy's like, oh, I had to take this during ballet, and it took about 45 seconds before I started doing my impersonation of a ballet person, like full on, like with the ballet leotard, dancer's cup, if you will. Got him to laugh there. It was a big move. Doesn't happen often. I remember Brearley's like shaking her head like, no, don't do this. But I was like, no, I'm in the zone. You know, did the whole, I'm wearing a dancer's cup. And it was a good morning for me.
Wait, how did you do that? Like, did you go in for a costume change or did you like pull up your pants so it like hugged the diesel?
Mime the hand.
Okay, I thought like
mime
maybe.
Work, you know. First of all, you just got to change your stature.
Exactly.
And then, you just look, like us trying to seriously pull off any kind of like, I'm balleting versus just slouching there with a cup of coffee in my hand is already going to be like, uh-oh, he's up to something. And it could have been a big miss. Could have been a big miss. But yeah, no, it happens less and less, but I'm just coming off of it this morning. It was a recent big win for me. Big win.
Congratulations, man. Love to
Huge.
hear it. Never give up.
Huge.
Never give up.
Can't stop being me.
Listen, they just need to know how cool we are. Like when I'm like, dude, what do you like? Listen, have you seen the other dads? I mean, they're like doughy, and they're slouched, and they're not funny, and they're whatever. Like, listen,
You're in Chicago. It's funny you say that. That's very context dependent. It's not. I mean, I don't know what Austin's like, but it's hard to be cool in Brooklyn.
it's all, there's so many insufferable people there too, right? I mean, like you're like, oh my God, enough with the glasses and the hats. You know what I mean? Facial hair. Now I can't do that. But like, I'm not, that's just any hip community, right? We're in a suburb, like literally just west of the city. So we're like on the grid. So we're still in the mix, but we're kind of in our own little bubble surrounded by, the west side of Chicago and Maywood. And it's, adds, gives you this some spice to it that you don't normally get in like the western suburbs, where I think it's a little more autonomous out there and a lot of the same stuff. Like, so you get a lot of cool dads around here, but like I tell my son, I go, your dad, me, Jeff Mauro, is a star of stage, film, and television. How cool is that? You know what I mean? Come on, give me some respect here. And he's like, oh, and he's in our house. It's all good, but. He's in School of Rock, and he plays in their traveling band, and he plays in their performance team, and so he plays sometimes 3 gigs a week. And I went to one on Tuesday, which is this. He plays at this rock club. They have a residency there on Tuesday nights called Reggie's. It's a real punk place, like punk on the south side of Chicago, and it's awesome. And we go there, and I get cheese sticks and crush a couple beers. It's like way better than any soccer game you can imagine having it like sit through with your kid, like because I get to go to rock clubs all over and, have a couple cold ones while watching my son play with a really high level, like performing team. Like they're really, really good. And it's so funny. I'm excited. I like want to be as a musician myself and in a gigging band as well, that sometimes my son will come up and play a couple songs. Like, I'm like, all right, like, I don't want to be the football dad, yelling at the ref, but sometimes you got to yell at the sound guy. You got to like, listen, man, this sounds like turn the fuck. Or I'm like looking at some of the kids. I'm like, this kid didn't practice this week. It's off the, I don't want to be that dad, but like I try to keep it down. But also my excitement, I have to keep down almost in this like public environment, right? Whereas at home, I can get away with way more. But you see that kind of embarrassment come through, I think, most when he's around his peers. And I think there's no way around that.
You know what's weird is
even though I think I'm really cool. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. It's all relative. This is what's interesting is we are dads, right? But then where we are, our environments have kind of a different, like, quote, norm or levels. You know what I mean? Like, Neil, your dad level is like totally, I mean, I can't, it's Brooklyn. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more, I think, cliched of like your dad's not a published poet and is wealthy.
Serious.
You know what I mean?
A lot of competition.
Yeah, like I want to know what is the alpha dad in Brooklyn, Neil? And then I want to know the alpha dad in Oak Park.
Okay.
And then I can tell you my alpha dad.
Great question, Ollie. On this is we haven't explored this. So, well, I'm in Greenpoint, which is next to Williamsburg. So I don't know if you know Williamsburg. And so they're like cousins. Williamsburg, those are the kind of like expats from Murray Hill, which is a neighborhood in Manhattan where you go after you attend a Big Ten school. Your parents get you a place in the Doorman building in Murray Hill, and then you kind of make your way over to Williamsburg, right on the water, and then you live in another high rise. My daughter, we've had play dates with kids who live in these like kind of like these big buildings, and just like, is this a hotel? And I'm like, no, we just live in a walk up. I'm sorry.
With no doorman.
And so that's Williamsburg, and then in Greenpoint, it's more like our vibe is. You probably heard me say this, Ollie. It's like everyone we know is kind of like has a story about how they got there. Like, oh yeah, no, we've just been here for 15 years, and like, like her grandma died, and then so then we like illegally got on the lease, and like now we're just kind of like stabilized, or sometimes like someone, you know, just like inherited a shitload of money and then bought this place. It's like a little bit more down to earth, and so it's a mix of people, but you'll have like, oh, that person's like on Law and Order, or like they represent, they're an agent for this band, and it's like it's really like sleeper cool as opposed to like the like A-listers over
Yeah.
in.
Like they have a cool, like they can't wait to tell you what they do. Like one of,
Yeah. Yeah. We've
Yeah,
got like I know a lot of like set decorators,
so cool
like
though. That's a great conversation,
yeah.
right? So I just,
Yeah.
I was on, I was Kimmel for 15 years, whatever. I moved. Like that's interesting. Where sometimes like a guy's like, I'm a consultant for a pharmaceutical firm or something. You know what I mean? Which is, I'm sure, a great job, very stable and lucrative. But in a group setting, it's. I mean, Neil, right? I mean, if you're in TV, right? That's a cool job, Ali. You got a cool job. I think it's cool, and that's why we are collectively the three world's greatest dads because we have cool jobs.
Hey.
And that's what I want my son to realize. But when I was at Reggie's, there was a guy, and I swear to God, this is funny. I was like, this guy looks like he just walked right out of Brooklyn, right? Or like Logan Square neighborhood here in Chicago, or like Pilsen or something even more fringy. But, he had the brimmed hat, and he had the beard, and he had really tight jeans on, and like a sweater, and he had some sleeve tattoos, and he was very, well put, but also like just so cool. And I was looking around the room, and a lot of the other parents are just who we've known that are great, some really cool jobs, but just like, we're all on like the same level. I was like, this guy, I didn't know if he was from the other school because there were two schools playing, but I almost like looked at him with resentment, and I looked at him as a competitor. I was like, this guy thinks he's the coolest guy in the room. I wonder what he does. Now that's my mission. Next show, I got to find out I didn't talk to him.
Wait, is his kid in a rival band?
I think he is. Yes. It's either in the rival band or a new parent or because they just had some new people come in in the band. So I don't know. Not that I was being antisocial. I just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I get it.
When did School
I
of
just want to
Rock
make him my
become?
bitch.
When did School of Rock have rival bands? I mean, I don't. It's
Dude.
not
Well,
competitive.
they'll play with other schools, and every parent. It's like, dude, it's our sport. This is our right. This is a team sport. And you play with other schools. Not that there's a battle of the bands or any. There's no applause meter. It's just you watch them and you're like, oh, we got these guys. We're like, oh man, our singers need a lot more work. And it's just it doesn't matter. But you're usually playing with other schools a lot of the times, at least in the Chicagoland area. It's such
what's the set list? What's Lorenzo playing?
He played on the new songs. He played on were Ride Like the Wind, the Christopher's Cross song, Paranoid, Black Sabbath, and the new Epic by Faith No More, which is like ingrained in any of at least my generation. I mean, Faith No More is huge. I love them. But, coming up in the dawn of, MTV and all that, Epic was a huge video and a huge song in my formative musical years. So to see the kids do it was awesome. My son played great. The kids singing, do you know the song, Neil?
Mm-mm.
You want it all, but you can't have it. No? And it's like a rap almost, Mike Patton. It's a line, a line, saying way down under. Can you do it some more? Right? And that's it. And the kid was just like, it was the first time they did it. And he's awesome, this kid. And I think he just botched the lyric. He just kept repeating the same like stanza for each verse. And you see him stumble, and then you watch him the next time, and it's like you see him improve over the weeks and months and years. I love it. It's such a big part of our identity, my son's identity. I can't recommend it enough. I'm sure Brooklyn's they got to have a School of Rock.
We have
there.
a School of Rock. I always think it's very funny because I have this like idea that like if you're in a band, you got to start in a garage, and the fact that it's like very like they have like probably an HR department at School of Rock is just very funny to me. But
no, that's a good point. Not starting your own garage band, not playing in the basement like I was at 14, 15, my buddy's Tom's house, smoking bowls and like literally hanging a microphone cord from the hung ceiling tiles because you don't have a mic stand, and doing it like Michael Buffer while you're playing through everybody sharing like 2 amps. and it's a toy drum kit. That makes you, I think,
Builds
in the
character.
end, builds
Well,
character.
it builds the resilience that
Yeah,
allows you to be the next Food Network star, which is what I want to go back to because
sure.
we
Let's
could
talk
ramble
about it.
forever
My
because
greatest achievements.
we do. All right, so you have your kid in 2008, and
Mhm.
then you're private chefing. You're kind of like gigging. What do you? What's the day job at that moment?
Day job was I was the private corporate chef for America's largest independent mortgage company called Guaranteed Rate, who now is called Rate.com, who at Sox Park is called Rate.com Park or whatever. Rate. I
So,
don't know.
were you doing lunch every day? What
So
was
I
your?
was doing, breakfast and lunch every day for about 300 people. I had 2 cafes, one at a satellite office, and I was at corporate headquarters. So I had a couple people under me, and I'd literally, do all the shopping, all the prepping, serving, collecting money. It was all at cost. So people would just run through the line and give me $5, and I'd give them I'd have specials, I'd have meat, and when I got there, it was very primitive, and I just kind of expanded it and made it uh, using my whatever. I went to culinary school before that, but I was always in some food before LA. I worked I had a deli in the suburbs with my cousin, and I worked in delis 15, 16 years old, all that stuff. So that was always kind of my passion.
And
But
and
so I
and
was
so they were doing this to just kind of like keep employees like
Yeah,
on
like a
site,
perk.
like
You know what I mean?
yeah.
When you hear about like Google and stuff having, all you can eat food and massages and, segways and shit around campus. Like this was a little grittier than that, and a
Yeah.
little more.
We're gonna make you pay, but it's a little
Yeah,
discount.
exactly. Just
Yeah,
cost. So, but
yeah.
I didn't have to answer to a budget or, look at, cost analysis of any sandwich, or there's no P&L sheets to go over. So it was I could kind of do what I want as long as I kept it within reason. And for me, I was trying out for Food Network Star years before that, actually starting in LA, and then the subsequent years up until 2011 when I finally got on after the 4th try. But for me, I was cooking all day, right? I was performing at night and stuff. On the weekends, I would sing, and I was singing in a big jazz band called the Pinups. With there were 3 girls I was in Tony and Tina's wedding with back in the day that did like Andrew Sisters 3-part harmony stuff, and I was like the crooner, and I'd blow dry my hair, and I'd pour scotch on the rocks, and I'd sing the classics, which I grew up doing as well. Like I love Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Louis Prima, all that stuff with the jazz band. We play at various clubs and stuff throughout the city. So I was kind of scratching both itches. But for me, I think the benefit of that job, rather than working like the back of the house at a fine dining or a full service restaurant, was I was like prepping. I was constantly bombarded with people all day because in this big communal space. So when I was slicing lettuce or slicing meat or making a big thing of soup, it was in an open kitchen that I could kind of people come in and chit chat me up. So I was like constantly cooking, I guess, while talking, and it was a good training ground for what was eventually to come.
Right. So okay, and then and so you were kind of living this dual lives career wise, like not on the line, but like prepping, cooking, feeding a bunch of people, tons of people while you're performing kind of on the side, and then you were able finally to merge those passions on air. What was that like when you found out, okay, you're on? Had you done like Skypes and stuff? Like had you gotten close before or was
I got close the first time I auditioned, which I auditioned and got called back while I was in LA right before moving back to Chicago. Then got called back months later in Chicago and went and made it to like the semifinals. So I got to go to Chelsea Market and audition there and do a screen test, and they make you do a culinary quiz and a background check and like a psychological exam and stuff. Asked me if I've ever like literally paid a hooker for sex. And I was like, wow, I'm definitely going to make this show if they're asking these personal questions. And I did not sleep with the hooker. A, B, so that was a very quick no. But B, I didn't make it, even though in my mind, I got a standing ovation at the last demo I did in Studio B there at Chelsea Market, which is a small little studio in the Food
yeah.
Network headquarters back in the day it was wild. I mean, it was like actually fairly bare bones and unexciting, but they had the studio, they had the kitchens, Studio B, which was a tiny little kind of test studio, and then where they shot chopped and everything, which is a little larger studio, Studio A. So I got, I thought I made it. I didn't after months of them kind of stringing me along. And then I just kept trying out. So, when I finally got that call, I was, slicing some oven gold turkey on a meat slicer. And I got that call from Jennifer Sullivan, which was the same casting director that I've dealt with. I dealt with the first time, but never got a call back the 2 other times. So it was the 4th time when they're like, yeah, we're putting you on a plane again to do the semifinal audition, round of casting. And it was so quick. Like I went to New York, did the same thing I did before. And then they called me the next day after I got home and they said, yeah, I made it on the show. So, and then the rest is right down the toilet.
And Lorenzo's, 2 or 3 at this time?
Yeah. When I went away he was 1.5. He still wasn't even 2 yet, because by the time I won the show, it was 2011, but I shot it. I went right at the turn before the year ended, or in January. So yeah, he was young. There's no way to explain to a.
He doesn't really know about your
An hour and a half,
your deli days, the oven gold. He only knows Jeff Mauro, the star.
No, I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah.
In a way.
How old was he? I remember, when you won and then he came up on stage.
Yeah.
How old was he
2?
then?
3?
Really? Oh, well, it's funny. I have this video I have to dig up, but I have a video where I told Brearley we're sitting down at a Korean barbecue place, and I put the phone on her, and it was when I told her that Food Network had announced to do a pilot for Cheap Eats. At the time, I didn't know it would be on Cooking Channel. I see Heath. There's a video of him, and he's just eating freaking rice noodles with his hands, and Brearley is like her breath's taken away, and he just looks at her with a mouthful of freaking rice noodles coming out of his mouth.
How old was he then?
But I think the same age. He was 2, dude. Yeah, it's when we go to that. It was great.
I remember when you told me that news. I mean, that was for us. Ali and I basically came up together, right, in the mid 2000s, trying to do our own thing, shop it around. We have many, many stories about Chef Jeff and Ali in getting representation and then getting meetings and shooting a very strange pilot with a very strange production company. And that never seen the light of day, or us never seeing that. And, just various. And so when I got on Food Network, I was like, I'm so happy, not that I was like, I'm going to get my buddy Ali on, but I was, when you made it, it was, the odds are insane that we both eventually got on air at different times, but we were both on the air at the same time. It's crazy.
What was going on in the water supply at Chelsea Market? And you know what? That's what it comes down to, is this. You just got to trick them. You got to trick them to letting you get your foot in the door, and then, you know what I mean?
No, but it is interesting because I didn't know. I mean, I guess, it's like how the sausages are made. I didn't, this was your 4th try. And I think that's often how life works, right? I mean, in everything, it's like, had you just, tried that first time and said, well, I got really close, but all right, I tried it. We're not sitting here having this conversation, right? Necessarily.
Well, we tried it the conventional way, right? Self-producing something, editing it, putting on a freaking DVD, shopping it around, trying to get representation, getting representation, trying to get meetings, getting meetings, trying to get a pilot, getting it's so hard to make TV. It's so time consuming and grueling, as Neil. It's when people come to me with an idea, they're like, oh, I got this great show for you. I'm like, we're years away from this thing getting it's now with the TV landscape and the climate, it's almost impossible if it's not, oh my God, dude, there it is.
What is that? We can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh my God, whose number is that? That's your number? Wait, you're muted. You're muted, donkey. You're muted. You're muted. Yeah, you probably just said the funniest thing the whole episode, and you're still muted.
I said that's my
such
number.
A little thin DVD case. That's adorable.
Look at this.
That's a
It's not even. Ooh, that's pristine, dude. You're gonna run that through the cleaner.
Do you have a DVD player? You have?
Oh wait, I do.
I do.
I do. I think it's still in a box. We haven't even opened it. I don't know why we had it. Yeah, I still have that. It's funny. Yeah. Go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
So you win. It's 2011. And then what? And then Jeff Google's like just smoking a big cigar, like, come with me,
Dude, that was
son.
the
No?
best. When I was being courted by like 4 agencies,
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
all caught wind that I won, and I was
Hmm.
still, it still wasn't even, I mean, barely the show just started airing, you know. By the time the show aired, I knew I won and shot my first
Hmm.
season of Sandwich King. So I had this all
Hmm.
under the belt, and I was making sandwiches still, you know, still working at my old job. So it was a very powerful and exciting moment in my life, right? Like you have
Yeah.
this bubbling and you just wanted to release. And I remember, you know, I was wine and dine, like old school, like what you picture. I don't even know if this shit happens anymore, right? Nobody cares. But like, you know, it was so exciting. He's sending me bottles of booze and like paying for, you know, I'm like, where do you want to go to dinner? I'm like, no boo, you know, which is in my mind was like the pinnacle, right? New York at the time. And, you know, just ordering good stuff and being promised by these people that, you know, if I go with them, you know, I'll make the, you know, it's the right choice. But I've been with the same agent since that day. You know, I did go. You mentioned Jeff Google, who's been my longtime commercials agent,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Josh
No,
Biter,
yeah,
who's
no,
my TV agent. I'm sure you know this.
for Food Network, I've had several hats. Not, I was gonna say many, but several.
Did you work
I
at
was,
the network?
yeah, I was at Food Network. I was at True TV before that, and I was at William Morris I was in the mailroom, and so like
Shit.
we were probably, I was probably booking your like speaking engagements in the lectures department. You know, we've all got to start somewhere, and then end somewhere, and then start again.
Are you doing anything that? Do you have anything in the works as far as TV wise?
Well, it's
That
in.
need to host?
We have been shopping a ton. I mean, the TV's a mess. We've been shopping a ton of stuff for the last 2 years, and now are starting, which we can talk offline about all these like YouTube things that
Yeah.
we're
I mean,
making directly with talent and just owning the
it's
rights.
it. I mean, I've got a lot of
It's
things on the
it.
table right now with YouTube. Ever since, obviously, since the kitchen was canceled.
Mm,
For those of you listening that didn't know that, no, but I'm sure everybody knew at this point. But
everything.
I mean, the irony was like I didn't. None of us were ready to stop that. The audience was not ready to stop watching the kitchen. Our ratings were great, and it's just the landscape and it's the daytime TV is it's a
Well, and
difficult.
you're in good company, right? I mean, it's like you look at like every major media organization. I mean, Catfish, Rob Dyrdek, you, Colbert, like they're just, it is the model is changing. And so how does it feel? How are you doing? I mean, obviously it's the end of an
Mhm.
era. I mean, it's the thing that like changed your life.
Yeah, I'm still. We knew it was coming. My wife and I, Sarah, have been at least financially planning for this. I've been spiritually planning for this, right? To quote the great to television's Mark Summers, you know, a double dare guru, right? Or just if I know you've know Mark. I'm sure you both know Mark, right? He's been in our world for a long time, at least from lifestyle TV, food TV, but you know, we did a show very early on called 24 and 24, which Ali was on. It was our main food researcher for that. It was great. And now there's a show called 24 and 24 on
Yeah, I
the
was just
air
gonna
that they
say
try
that's
to.
so funny.
Yeah,
Same
they
same
asked me to
title, huh?
compete in it. I'm
Yeah,
like, fuck
yeah.
you. This is my show. This is my show 14 years ago. Why don't you have me host this? So, Mark, to quote television's Mark Summers, he told me early on, you know, there's two types of TV shows, Jeff. Those that have been canceled and those that are about to be canceled. So I was like, well, that's great. I'm glad I'm in this business. But like having the kitchen for almost 12 years, you're like, maybe I'm the outlier. Maybe this is an anomaly. Maybe we will go forever. Maybe we are The Simpsons or The View or one of these juggernauts that just won't stop, can't stop. The people want it. I think we were the economics of it. We're still working. I think it's not like it was. You know how TV's been over the last especially 5 years. I mean, budgets have not increased. And so they just, the crew reduces and reduces, and it's like, oh my god, when is this gonna? So you see the writing on the wall in. I'm still like, I don't want to, I'm not angry. I'm sad. I'm more sad than anything to stop the work. Cause out of all the shows, and I love doing Worst Cooks, and I have a new one coming out in January. So I have a whole celebrity season coming out of that. I did many seasons of Holiday Wars, obviously all my previously canceled shows. Like the work of the kitchen is very gratifying. I get to right? Invent awesome recipes. I get to eat a lot of great food by really great cooks and chefs. And I just get to play that role of class clown and get paid for it and just wait for those zingers and wait for my moment. And that's what I loved about the ensemble, platform of the kitchen was like, it was just like I had my role and I loved my role and nobody challenged me for my role. And I think I excelled at it. And it just made me better and better as the years went on. Like I just got quicker and boom, and so I'm going to miss that work and I'm going to miss being with my friends. Like these are my friends, like Jeffrey, like we are friends and we loved doing this show and we go out to dinner and we laugh about it. And, and we had all these moments that, were so special and, that I can draw upon and relive, but, nothing replaces that, the work of it, and the paycheck, which was nice for 12 years that I got very used to.
What's Lorenzo, if he has a take? I mean, because he's known this show now for a decade, right?
Yeah.
Like, and a huge part of your life, like, does he have feelings about its ending? I mean, because it's kind of his childhood,
He wanted to go. He's like, hey, am I going to see anybody soon from the network? I'm like, why? He's like, because I just want to tell him off for you. It's like, it's bull crap. I was like, that's my boy. That's right. Yeah, he saw the stress of it unfold. It was stressful. It was a very quick. It happened quickly, and that conversation, there was minimal time to kind of stew over what was inevitable and coming. Like we had like 24 hours, but the next thing you know, we're on a call and it's happening, and it was like. And my wife, like it's show business is a family disease. Like we're all in it, whether we want to be or not. And everything, this affected my immediate family. It was like, this is, people love the show and people, like silly, but yeah, I thought of my mom and, my aunts being like proud of me for hosting the show that everybody loves that they can't brag about anymore. It's probably narcissistic as that sounds, but it's the fact. Like I was proud. Like when I won Food Network Star, it was awesome. But the best part about it was when we simulcast that at the Little Italy Fest that Sunday night. I mean, everybody, first, second, third cousin. I mean, there was 1 million people there. And I was like, I won that for them too in the neighborhood. And these people I grew up like, and so this was a kind of, I'm like, this is the first time I haven't had like anything on the books to host, in 14 years. So that's scary.
Well, and
it's also
a good segue. Sorry, go ahead, Ollie.
Well, it's a remarkable achievement. It's a remarkable achievement to have had that kind of run, and just to kind of throw it out there too, just so I know I said it out loud. I remember when I went to a taping in 2015, and it was funny because when I was sending the audience is when I got the text saying they sent me air dates. It was like the weirdest screen grab text ever. Like it was like just data. Like, oh yeah, like 5 dates. I'm like, what does this mean? I didn't understand the context. But I remember going to the taping, and I am someone who, like I feed off the energy of people. Dude, going to the kitchen. This is in 15. I can't even imagine where you guys were at in 18 and 22. But I was like, whoa, this is intense. These people are intense. And you guys were like on Planet the Kitchen. I remember being in your green room, whatever, and you guys were like picking through random fast food going, yeah, this lunch kind of sucks. You guys were just like doing your thing. I remember you were going bonkers on the taping. You were like, you were just trying stuff. People were like, what's he doing? And he goes, I don't care. Like, you were like absolutely in a zone, and this is in 15. And actually, the one thing I remember that I stole, just being around this energy and the great, just like these people, when you're in a zone where you're like working and you're performing, and that could be a variety of things. It doesn't have to be like TV or a musician or an actor on a stage. But I remember Jeffrey Zakarian was freaking walking around smoking a cigar in between takes, right? And then this freaking sound guy or a PA, it's like, Mr. Zakarian, do you know where your IBF is? Your the mic?
Yeah.
FB, whatever.
Earpiece, yeah. It's about right.
And you guys, it was nuts. Honestly, I hope you guys keep up that relationship as best you can, even though you don't live next to each other or you live in the same city, because that does not happen often. Not just the run, but that kind of cohesion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Back to Ding Dong.
Yeah,
back
Ding
to
Dong.
Ding Dong.
That's such a Jeffrey thing to do. God, he's so funny, but he's unabashedly himself, and that's why he's, at this point, a legend. You look at, you work with Alex. Alex was on the show, obviously. She left for a little bit, then came back, and she's unbelievable. She's an unbelievable friend. But you're with both of them, and you're spending a week and a half with that. You listen to their stories, just eavesdrop. They've worked in some of the craziest kitchens in the world, and you hear about their stories and just the name dropping. And it's you're wow, these. So I missed, and I learned. I never went through an episode and didn't learn something from somebody. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe we'll ride again in some format.
I love that. So since you're at this kind of inflection point, I am curious, what has, and you've had all these big things happen with, the show and your dad, how has that affected the way you see being a dad? Or has it? Has it put things in perspective, or did you not need that? Or
Yeah. Losing my dad very quickly from pancreatic cancer in February. He got diagnosed right around Christmas, and we lost him 5 weeks later. And that changed everything, because then it was puts everything into perspective, especially with some of the, news and hardships of the following months and everything, and then losing Ann Burrell, who I was very, very close with and shot a lot of TV with her and went to her wedding and had her in my house many times, been to her. We were very close, and that was a big blow. And now the kitchen and some other family stuff that's been insane to pile on top of everything else. It's made my unit so much my unit, right? Me, Lorenzo, and Sarah so tight, and even more open and communicative, and I think functional than ever before. Because you see the chaos around you, right? Just start exponentially growing and getting, and it's I have to take care of my unit before, right? I got to make my bed before I try to change the world. And I prioritize my son and my wife in our household, and then I can start to reach out to others. I lost my dad. I was thrust. Sarah and I were basically, I think anybody in my family would admit this, the matriarch and patriarch of my extended family. And not because we're powerful or I'm the richest or whatever. It's just we host everything. We're the only one with a house. Everybody else lives in condos or apartments, So we're the kind of nucleus of the family. And that comes with, I believe, that role of being stable and ready for anything. You gotta, after all this, I was man, I gotta make sure I'm taking care of myself and being a great, being a healthy person, so I can be a great husband and father and lead by example. So take care of my body first thing in the morning and try not to drink too much. And you know what I mean? Don't be hammered in front of my kid, or don't make stupid decisions so I'm not there in the morning, right? Or being as productive as I can, which I believe is a very necessary part about being a dad, is to not just tell them what to do while wagging your finger, but, leading by example in I think all this crazy year. And I'm I feel we're prepared for anything. I don't wish anything else to come our way by the time the year ends. I'm good. But I feel we're stronger than ever, despite, the universe being we're going to test the shit out of you, boy.
That's a real testament to you. Because and Ali, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the word on the street about Jeff is that and that's why you're here, is he's a fucking excellent father. And that when you had to travel, you did what you got to do, but you always got to make it back to, you're not one of these people who's oh, let me hang out for a few extra days. Do the mission, get back to wife and son. And I think there's a lot of people who can go through what you've been through and worse stuff and just turn to destructive behaviors, or kind of fight with each other. And the fact that you're saying that you're coming out of it tighter is I guess my question is, how did you do that? How do you do that?
I don't know. I guess, I believe in talking it out, whether with a therapist or my mom or my wife, And I guess we're just disciplined in a way, and I think, again, you can tackle way more if you're physically and mentally healthy and not relying on, right, coping mechanisms. Like when I'm on the road or shooting a show for 3 weeks in London, like people are like, how did you like London? And we Worst Cooks moved to London so I shot 2 seasons out there, and I collectively last year or year and a half ago, I don't know, spent 2 weeks and then 3 weeks. And that's hard, right? Being gone is hard. Being out of the country in a different time zone is way harder. But I just had a philosophy where if I'm done shooting, I go home. I won't even eat. I'll eat, I'll restrict myself from easy pleasures like that, right? Go and sit at the bar in the hotel and having a couple drinks. And then whatever. I feel like, and waking up every morning at 5:30 to go box at 6 and then be at set at 7:30. You know what I mean? That and as grueling as that was, I came out of that a better person. I worked hard, and I didn't rock the boat at home, right? Because my wife doesn't care. We're at the point, we've been married 20 years, together 25 years. And she's been with me the whole way in a very early on, especially in the kitchen career, when I was working with a bunch of people and an ensemble cast and young ladies, and and you see all these posts go up and all this friendly, fun stuff happening where my like, wait, aren't you working? Why are you having so much fun? Right? She'll admit this too. And it took us some time to kind of get over that and build the trust. And we've evolved so much where it's at the point, I could probably do whatever I want. Not whatever I want, but I can go out till 1 a.m. if I want. But she knows I'm not going to do that because my physically cannot sustain that. Because I think ultimately my priority was obviously my family, representing my family, is something I would want to see as my son, as my dad behaving, but also taking care of myself so I can be the best performer possible the next morning, right? Because if I have 4 drinks on a Tuesday, knowing I have 3 14-hour days ahead of me, I'm not going to be funny. I'm not going to be nearly as funny as I can be, or quick or witty. And that, I'm like, why would I sacrifice that, So then I make it to Friday, and then I have a couple pops.
Unload.
Smoke a heater outside the hotel and have a couple pops.
The Friday unload.
Right?
I want to, as you mentioned, we didn't have you on day one because A, we were like, we better get a couple episodes under our belt. And then 2, and very sad to obviously learn about your dad's passing. I met Gus, met him at your wedding. And even if you never met him, between the social media postings, even in your cookbook, Come On Over, he's profiled quite well as, a true, classic, almost a classic Italian-American patriarch, larger than life, a warm, just, the guy could own the room. And, not surprising, it clearly, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. What did your dad teach you, prepare you as you became a dad? And what was he like with Lorenzo? Because I'm really curious about this one, because my dad died when Heath was, I don't know, God, it can be 3, 4.
Yeah. Sure.
And I feel like he never really, I could count less than 12 hours he probably spent total in his life around him. You know what I mean? It just did. That's the way that shook. So I'm just curious to know what, about, for you to talk about your dad as, as he was a dad for you, and a grandfather and a role model as for you as a dad yourself.
I always thought, I still went through that, my dad, what he taught me and my siblings, I think most, besides being a, hardworking family man, hard work, take care of your clothes, take care of your car, take care of your house, take care of your castle. He told us, he led by example on how to, work the shit out of a room. How to walk into anywhere in the world and be like, I'm here. Hello. I'm going to touch as many people as possible on my way to the table. I'm going to pretend, even if I don't know who the hell you are, I'm going to give you a little quick joke. I'm going to disarm anybody I come in contact with charm, and while still being likable and not obnoxious. And that is something I just soaked up from an early age. And sometimes I remember being a kid and like, again, like our son, like me, like, I'm like, oh God, he's so cheesy with the waitress and with the guy that made her tea and the guy at the car wash and the person on the thing. And it's like, oh my God, with these same jokes and everything. But guess what? I'm doing the same shit now. And it's driving Lorenzo. He's like, oh my God, this joke. But it's like so underappreciated. Like he was so good. Like ask any, I mean, his funeral, his wake was held at a church in Little Italy, where my son goes to school now. And it was 600 people showed up. Over 600 people waited in line to pay their respects. And I knew he was popular. You know, he was a popular man. He was still somewhat, he was respected and known in Chicago, right? Especially in the Taylor Street neighborhood, in Rush Street, and anywhere. You know, like how many people are in their 20s going to like clubs on Rush Street and seeing their father at night, you know, partying too. He had a couple years there. I was like, oh boy. But you know, I was never like embarrassed by my mom or my dad. Like they were cool parents. I'm so lucky to have that. And I never took that for granted. And even in high school, like if my friends would come over, I'm like, oh, it's my folks. You know, I'd be like, because my dad, the cigar, like larger than life, scared the shit out of anybody who didn't know him. Like he was a big man with big hands. And you know, he was respected because anybody that wasn't from that neighborhood or wasn't related to us or knew about it, you automatically, you know, you thought, oh, this guy looks like Tony Soprano, which he kind of does, you know, and he's got that air about him. So you would like, you know, like we're kind of untouchable, right? And then people would just assume that where my dad was in the outfit or mobbed up or whatever. And like that gave us some, you know, unexpected power and perks. But, you know, he just taught us how to work the room and I love, even like when we were in college and I went to undergrad at Bradley, my brother went there, my little sister, one of my sisters went there. Like they'd come for parents weekend and just like own it. Like just get, like, let's go. Kids throwing up in his car. He didn't care. Like it was like the coolest. And so I think that's what he taught me. And as he aged, he definitely, not that he, you know, he was still very spry until he got sick and sharp and everything. He was 75 years old. I mean, but he still had that, you know, energy. And I mean, didn't like, you know, I wasn't seeing my dad in his 70s out, you know, but he drove around in a 76 Eldorado convertible and he would park it on Rush Street still and sit outside with his friends. And that's another thing I learned, I think, that is very important to both Sarah and I, is having a quality circle of friends as an adult that you can tap into. And my dad, my mom, like my dad always had his buddies, couple different, you know, these guys were just nuts, you know, and just great, but he always had friends. And he was like, you know, make sure you spend time with your friends, especially as you get older. You know, you can lose touch as life gets in the way. And then with my son, you know, Lorenzo loved him and he loved Lorenzo. And I was so happy that, you know, Lorenzo's now a junior and he goes to this very reputable Jesuit high school called St. Ignatius. And that's where my dad went. And that's right down the street from where my dad grew up. And that school saved my dad's life. My dad's dad died in front of him while washing the car when he was 13 years old and had a heart attack and died. And so my dad was from, you know, an area that was prototypical rough streets, you know, that was literally half housing projects, half Italian neighborhood. And that school saved his life. So he always had a special connection and respect for the school. It was a different school when he went there. Now it's like, you know, you gotta sell your soul to get in there or be like a star stage film and television and host the gala and donate 3 dinners a year and all this stuff. But it's an unbelievable. So my dad got to see my son apply to that school out of nowhere. Like, we didn't think he would want to go there, but he visited it, and he walked down. He's like, I want to go to school here. And we got a great public school here in our neighborhood. And there's another great Catholic school. And he saw all 3, and he's like, I want to go there. And my dad's like, all right, let me, you know, let's see what I could do. I don't, you know, he had a well-rounded resume, you know, as an 8th grader, of course, to get enough to get into school and the test scores and all that, and he did good. But that my dad got to share a couple years of that with him was deepen their bond exponentially. And my son, I mean, it hit him hard. It was hard to watch That was heartbreaking. And he's still like, you could see so many things remind him of my dad, and he gets sad. And it's lovely that he can emote to us like that and, still mourn his poppy.
So the way you've kind of been, reflecting about your dad decades from now, how do you want Lorenzo to talk about you?
I hope the same way, man. I don't even care about the career, or the money, or the fucking nice house, or whatever. Like, or the travel. Like, I want him to be like, my dad taught me how to fucking just be fun to be around. I mean, hopefully it's inherent. It's inherent in him, and it's like such a different world. These poor kids, especially at his age, when they just a little bit stunted, I think, socially because of all the shit that happened. But he'll find it. Like, I'm excited for him to kind of go to school and truly be on his own. And he's super independent. My son, he drives through the west side of Chicago every day to go to school. And he's drives to gigs, and he's in the, like, he's got this beautiful, well-rounded thing. But like, I don't know. Like, I want him to, I don't know. I just want him to like me, I guess. That's it, right?
I think you're well set for that one.
I don't know though, man. Like, God, dude, is there something, right, inherent in that dynamic of, where it's like you push him away almost because you're your own.
I think you've crossed through that.
Yeah.
I think you've crossed through that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of funny. I'm going to just jump and ask because, college is around the corner. Is he thinking about going away or staying in Chicago?
Awesome. Like, no, he's not staying here. He needs to go. He needs to spread his wings and fly. We're just started. You hire a consultant for the essay. You hire somebody, a training, one-on-one tutoring for this test. There's like 3 people now I got to bring on board here to help him get into college. Not that just signing him to a private collegiate, college prep is enough. Like, you got to hire all these kind of ancillary people to help guide us. But I don't know. I mean, like, I would love in a perfect world for him to go to like Vanderbilt in Nashville, or there's a great school in Nashville called Belmont University that a lot of musicians go to, and they have like the country's best like music business program, and everybody's like locked into the music industry there. And I don't think he wants to go and major in drums. I think he's very practical when it comes to that, and has wants a good job that he can to challenge him and make money, and wants to reserve the music for his, extracurricular activities, or still keep the passion for the music without turning it into a job. So we'll see. I don't know, man. But like, I don't know, man. Like that's it. That's onlys are awesome when you're coming up, because we traveled the world, the 3 of us, and it's so much easier to travel with one well-behaved kid. It's cheaper. You're more nimble, and you can do so much without, again, growing up and stuffing us all into a minivan and driving across the country to go to the Jersey Shore was like literally living in a amplified accordion for 6 days. It's insane. And he's just had the smoothest thing, and now he's going to leave, and it's just Sarah and I. Early empty nesters, That's the biggest transition we're facing now, as he goes there. Like, what are we going to do? Do I want to move back to the city? So that's what I think we're flirting with right now, is being cool again, moving to like Fulton Market, just going to all the restaurants.
Yeah. Well, if you could go back, Jeff, and talk to yourself in 2008, when your son was born, what would you say? What would you tell that dad about to embark on this 17-year journey?
Yeah, follow your instincts. I think I was born with good parenting skills that was, supported and confirmed by my parents, and also like, calm the fuck down. Like, you don't have to engineer everything either. You don't have all the control you think, especially as a young parent, right? I mean, I'm sure you were through this, swaddling and the machines and the thing, and like trying to literally engineer every bit of comfort for these children. Like, they're rubber, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be okay as long as there's a lot of bad parents out there that they should not have this philosophy. But, like, I think for the most, young parents who are, who, I don't know, research, like, you can't micromanage every bit of their career. Now I feel like I'm being a hypocrite because now I'm like micromanaging his like college entrance, his college journey. But that's just because I don't know what the hell to do. And this is big. You know what I mean? I don't want him to I don't want to, and you know what? I would have started, we've been saving for a while, but I think, saving for their education, saving for your I would say double down as early as possible on all that. It's crazy, dude. It's going to be $500,000 by the time he goes to school for 4 years. It's fucking crazy. All in, 420, 480.
Why I want my kids to be stand-up comedians.
There you go. What a path. That's a healthy career.
Right? They'll be fine. All right, we do this thing. I don't know if you've seen it on the old interwebs called the lightning round, the dad lightning round. Ollie is going to bring you through the dad lightning round, and then we'll send you on your way until we ask you to come again and teach us other things.
Oh, come again.
All right, Ollie, do your thing.
I'm coming at the gym. I'm coming at home. Did you ever listen to that clip? It's the best. I'm coming. I just come all day. That's the best. I can listen. I'm going to watch that after this. All right. Yes. Oh, boy.
Parenting advice in 5 words or less.
Don't be an asshole.
I think that's 5. You know what? Good. Spot on.
Yeah,
Choose a superpower. Super speed or super strength.
I'm already strong as fuck. I'll take super speed.
There you go. Focus on what needs development.
Can I be in New York quickly? Just by running? Yes, I'll take super speed.
One book every dad should read.
The first thing that comes to mind is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which my son Lorenzo has read 3 times. So we shared in that together. Now, Sarah's listening to it on the audiobook. But I guess any book that you could share, that's not, whatever, Goodnight Moon. You know what I mean? Fucking the Bible. Anything would be great. But something as they become a young person with some reading skills and comprehension skills, something that you can share and that you get out of enjoyment too. That'll eventually become a movie in March. Coming to theaters this March.
Goodnight Moon. I think that's the last book I read. Greatest TV dad.
You put the pudding into the pudding. No? That's a greatest TV dad. Dude, Tony Soprano. He was a good dad.
Yeah.
He was a good dad. He had good intentions.
Yeah.
And
I thought you were going to say yourself.
Home very, very, on many different levels. Not the mafia thing, but that was the beauty of that show. It was about a family.
I remember we watched the finale together.
Yeah. I made a big pot of gravy. I made for Joel.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You did.
Best. It was good.
Dream dinner guest, dead or alive.
Dream dinner guest, dead or alive. I'm gonna go. I'm in between 2, actually 3. I would say Chris Farley, just because I think it's just one of the funniest humans ever. But I think a more interesting guest would be John Candy, because I think he was one of the best, but also probably very, very enjoyable. Seemed empathetic and interesting, and probably listened better than Chris Farley. But if it was gonna be a dinner, a Saturday night dinner party, I'd probably have. You know what? I'm gonna scratch all that. I'm gonna say my grandpa Frank, who I never met, my dad's dad, and I wanted to see another generation of Mauro, since our genetics are very strong on the Mauro side. I want to see what that man was like.
That isn't.
He looked like us, and he was, he's just like a guy. It's just nice people.
It was almost like he was related to you. Best dad snack.
A half of mint in my little jean pocket. A mint. Instead of a gummy, but it's a mint I prefer. Just to help take the edge off. I would say the best dad snack.
Yeah.
What's really good is if you get Pringles and then you put some American cheese on it and some more thinly shaved mortadella and you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds.
Whoa.
And it gets that solid, once it cools, it becomes almost leathery, the bite on the chip, which still has some exterior crispness and crunch to it, but it's saturated by the processed pasteurized cheese food of American cheese. And then you get that kind of bologna fry effect and the fat drips in. Yeah. That's the best dad snack.
That's
good.
I gotta say that so tracks with you. I would have guessed like, oh, probably the salami I've been curing in my garage
Yeah, right.
that I've tried before. That I'm like, this is done right? But that absolutely tracks with your culinary career. I have to say, it really really does. Best, oh, that's a good one. Best music to rock out to when cooking.
I'm a big Dead head. I love the Grateful Dead, and the selections are endless because there's so many recordings of them. So I'm gonna say you put on a good show from 77 or 72 European
There it is.
tour. And
Full
then,
on
you can just get lost. You get lost in the melodies, man. Jerry singing through his fingers.
All these years, still I see the dancing bears.
I know, right?
I'll see it. Oh man, the tie-dye never gets old.
Never does.
Coffee or Red Bull?
Dude, now it's sugar-free Red Bull or Celsius for
Really?
Alani. Dude, coffee, I love it. I'll have it most mornings, just black or whatever, double lungo from the machine we got, and I love it, man. But, man, it gives me the ass piss. Like, I'm not growing out of it. It's only, but I love it so much. But so now it's not like I'm drinking an energy drink in the morning, but I cannot have afternoon coffee anymore. I got to be close by, if you know what I mean.
I understand that the gastritis hits us. Our bodies are changing.
It is.
Greatest dad of all time.
I don't know, dude. Living like, is this like it's not a fictional dad, obviously.
Well, I mean, I want to say this would have to be someone who actually walked the earth, but doesn't have to be currently walking the earth.
Understood. Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to say my dad, obviously. I mean, has anybody not said their? Oh, I'm sure there's people who have some shitty dads out there, but I think that's why I'll define it as my father, Gus, is the greatest dad ever because. There's a lot of shitty dads out there, and I didn't have one, so I don't take that for granted. So he did his best. Listen, he wasn't perfect. Nobody's perfect, but
Nobody's perfect.
He was close. He scrapped the ceiling of perfect.
It's a popular answer to say your own father.
Yeah.
Also, you're in good company.
I mean, he's watching me too. If I said my Uncle Dave, that'd be if this thing ever gets out, this podcast, it wouldn't be good.
We
for
can
business.
only hope.
Yeah.
Favorite movie to watch with Lorenzo?
Oh, God, what do we always watch? Dude, he loves, like, Dunkirk. We've watched that, like, 3 times.
Heavy.
He loves the war movies.
Yeah, Heath does, too.
You know what? We'll go with that. I'm trying to think of what else. Dune. We love the Dune movies. Like, we've watched them several times together and seen them both together at the theater. I love Dune, too. One of my favorite movies of all time.
One so right there with you. I'll try and say like, "May your blade fall and shatter." I say it wrong. He like gets mad at me, and then we fight.
I saw a guy like dressed in like all like strappy, at Lollapalooza this year. We were slinging beefs, and of course I was working, and they gave me a megaphone. And the guy and the first thing that came to me, he was like overdressed for Lollapalooza, and like all black and everything. I was like, Lisa Nagalib, the knife to my forehead.
Dude,
nobody got it. That's not the crowd. Wasn't my demo.
Context is everything. Yeah. All right, now we're gonna wrap this one up. Best part about being a dad?
I think seeing the progression, and moving to the next stage and chapter, and realizing you got them there, or you helped guide them there, and them being like in front of your eyes, like making a good decision, or like picking up little things that you've maybe shown by example, like a joke. I saw him. It was so cute. We were at this show and he went up to the owner who was working the upstage stage where they were, and he was like running food and was just working behind the bar. And this guy was like the prototypical guy who owns like a punk rock club, skinniest jeans imaginable, chain wallet, studs on the thing, spiky hair, like put together, but like obviously an owner who's still like, I'm still a punk. And Lorenzo, I saw this interaction. It was like, I didn't know what he was saying. I asked him later. He was commenting. He's like, oh, my son's into like chains too. And like, he had a studded belt on himself. My son's really into death metal, which is, we're all coming to terms with that. But we did go to a death metal show together this year, which was probably the singular best moment we've spent together, especially as a teenager. It was unbelievable seeing him blossom in front of my eyes and realize like the visceral passion that one can get when they're not, on their phone or on a device or playing video games and fucking talking to their friends on a headset mic. You know what I mean? Like, it was communal and it was primal and it was awesome. Like him in the mosh pit, taking off his shirt, moshing with like a bunch of adults, getting knocked around. It was so cool. So I don't even know what they're like, but like seeing that moment, like pure joy and stuff, and then seeing him like interact with this owner and with the spiky hair, and like him kind of laughing because he was being outgoing and charming. I love that.
I gotta say, and this is something Neil and I always talk about in the podcast, is because his kids are 5 and 7, and Heath is going to be 14 in like 2.5 weeks, a piano lesson or two ahead. And to share what you're saying is, you watch them become a freaking, in our case, a man. Like his own person, like. And then what's interesting too is I know about the death metal thing, because there's just interest that Heath's taken on that I'm like, okay, well, that's him. That's him. You know what I mean? That's him, and that's his path. It's amazing to watch. But it's been really amazing to actually do this particular one with you, Jeff. And I feel like I would have said it naturally, but I'm going to throw it to Neil. Jeff Mauro?
You are the world's greatest dad.
Thank you, guys. I concur.
Thanks for doing it, man. Thank you.
I'm up
Thank
there.
you.
Good stuff. Well, I got to hop on at 3:00, guys. I got to take a pish.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you